point, so it doesn't really matter which one it is. So, of course, to be starting off with the fact that I have made pretty much the most laziest boat ever, which I kind of turned it into a freaking tank or something like that. Pretty much it requires, nonetheless, a bunch of money. But most likely if you have been playing Star Trek Online for quite some time, you pretty much have the set and the stuff, and pretty much you would have the resources to get that stuff, which of course you're pretty much going to need a $30 C-Store carrier or something. But of course I'm using the Temporal Heavy Dread because it has 2 hangar bays, so, and it's pretty much a 4-4. I would make a turret build, but you know, that's kind of Stu's 1701's thing, not this is mine. I pretty much, because of course it has a hot modifier but less shields, I pretty much try to give it as much shield power as I possibly can as far as shield power is concerned. So that's pretty much out of the way. So let's begin with the build. So this of course is the Temporal Heavy Dread. Of course I would pretty much, of course, despite how American-like I am, of course I try to at least it has enough shields to make sure that my ship actually, because my ship takes a lot of threat, I have to make sure I have a mercy power shield polarity, and because it's a temporal ship, I know you guys are gonna get mad at me. Yeah, I know, because in this commander seat, you could have pretty much said, why not Recursion 3, you dumbass? And I'm gonna tell you this, the ship takes a lot of damage. Like, I tell you, like, the ship takes, like, a lot of damage. Like, I believe it is even a threat tank at this point. Like, look, it even has a lieutenant commander command seat capable of having torp builds. So basically this is a torp boat, but I decided to make it a lazy boat. So, and because I love capital ships, I love large ships, and pretty much the Emerald Chain Intel Juggernaut is the biggest ship. Of course, this ship is still big in scale compared to most ships. I believe like Constitution class could even fit between the nacelles. But enough about that. Let's go and get back to the build. So, of course, I put a bunch of battle anti-proton weaponry on it. Of course, giving this thing a torpedo, and the Omni. This comes off the Lobi. This is the 2-piece, which of course it would pretty much give the refraction proc additional damage, and also all your other anti-proton weapons will get that the same refraction damage output. So of course, and it will also chain up to 2 enemies. And one thing I have learned is that if you use sentry mode, it will add 2 more sentries. So it will add 2 more sentries in the back, because when I try to use the Section 31, the covert phasers, the covert phaser cannons, like these things right here, pretty much they reduce the threat, which is good on one end. But when I use sentry mode, the two of those in the back, those 2 sentries in the back are no longer even appearing. So I guess when I put back on the 2-piece, I guess it works. It's a very complicated set, and it's very touchy at the least. So it's pretty fragile. So we have the 10-pool negotiator. Now this is sort of a 50-50 if it works. I don't even know if it even works at this point. I don't even care. I just like having flashy gold things on my ship, which is pretty nice. And we have the red matter capacitor for the power levels, a reactive armor catalyst for a quick heal, Peregrine fighters for some extra support, and of course I have Tilly's shield because of that 15% increased bonus damage to shields. So pretty much I can deplete an enemy's shields a lot more quicker. Of course I have the deflector, because of course I'm trying to make this a tank. It does, of course, it resists a lot of damage and increase the hull capacity. The impulse, I have the mycelium wave for the 3-piece, and the reason why I have this there is because of the mycelium lightning, which scales with your hull. Not to mention, sure, the ship it turns like very, very, very slow, but I'm 99.9% of the time using sentry mode, so what's the point of using competitive engines when you're basically stationary and standing still? It makes no sense. So I did something about that. The Gamma Synergy's overcharged warp core. Now you're probably at this point gonna be banging down my door and saying, "What the hell is wrong with you? Like, dude, get the fleet core." Now I have the fleet core right there, But of course, I want to make sure that this ship is flat rapid response, and since we have a lot of fleet members, of course, we recently got a lot more fleet members within this year. Of course, people are going to be asking for help. People are going to be wondering, like, hey, if anybody's going to help do this, if anybody can help me run this mission, stuff like that. People, like, of course, and because 99.8% of, well, not 8, but, you know, like at least 65% of the Star Trek Online community are downright idiots. Well, I'm not gonna say downright idiots, but at least on PlayStation, everyone's a goddamn idiot. Of course, I have to make sure that the ship is ready for rapid response, and I don't like using the slipstream drive because of course, because they're idiots, it takes at least 5 minutes for my slipstream core to come back online. So, of course, I have this as an auxiliary option. Now, the Alliance Fighter Squadrons, this comes off the Jarok Alliance Carrier. Now, I'm probably going to say this, that most of these, I'm going to start with these, where these come from. This is from the Lobi, the Torpedo and the Omni. The cannons come off the Infinity Lockbox. It comes off the, if I'm not mistaken, it comes off the Dilithium store. This comes off the R&D. This also comes off the Dilithium store. This comes off the Delta Recruit, which you pretty much have to create a whole separate carriage, and you gotta find Iconian stuff to go get. This comes off the Disco Rep. All of these 3 pieces come off the Disco Rep, Shield Deflector, and Impulse. The Warp Core comes off the Gamma Quadrant Reputation, which is the Jem'Hadar R Rep. The Alliance Fighters, they come off the Jarok Alliance Carrier. They are the best fighters in the game. Not the top DPS, but of course they can pretty much do decent, like, not decent, but incredible amounts of damage. Because, of course, it's pretty much competitive with the normal Toju fighters. I switch between those every now and then. But because this is pretty much of an anti-proton build, I pretty much want to see the place really red. So I made sure I did that real quick. And also it comes equipped with Focus Assault 3, which it gives off, like, every time you use Focus Assault 3, it does bonus damage. So of course I think I have around like almost 24 to 14 fighters, if I'm not mistaken. And if they all have Focus Assault 3, you're probably looking at around 200 bonus damage, and that is a lot. So that's pretty overpowered in my case. So the rest of these are pretty much protomatter infuser matrices, or we would call them protomatter tactical consoles. These do anti-proton damage and more damage to your projectiles. Now, many people would probably have these equipped in PvP missions, not PvP, but like, you know, in the correct system, hovering around in PvP, pretty much making them unkillable. With the sheer amount of stuff this stuff can stack, like the more matter of these you have, these can stack. Pretty much I use them all the time. I don't really care what anybody says. These are pretty much very much overkill, and these are they have a 25% chance. It don't even matter. Even if you click a tactical ability, it does that. It does that. So you have your protomatter tactical consoles here. This is the stuff you get off the fleet colony. So if you want to go in a fleet and just grab those for a sec, or if you want to, and I recommend you, if you're trying to tank, I recommend you get this. But right now the top DPS is the whatchamacallit, I believe it's the fleet locators from the Spire, and those are the top DPS right now. Those increases your crit chance. Now, as for this is the whole imaging refractors. This is to turn the sentry mode off. Now, there is a glitch that they have not fixed with the sentry mode being left on in case you pretty much have some kind of cloaking to get rid of sentry mode. So this also involves cloaking and healing your ship, but at the same time it does on its own 20% all damage. And of course, any of your weapons that you fire, or it would apply as temporary hit points based on your hull capacity. So if you fire a weapon, it will pretty much regenerate, so it will turn your weapon fire into regeneration. Pretty inverse operational. Now, this is I believe you get the all imaging refractors. You can get off Exchange, you can get off Infinity Lockbox. If you're in my fleet, I'll pretty much give it to you for free. I have nothing better to do, so it don't really matter. As for the as for this console, this is the Energy Distributor Accelerator off the this is the Energy Distributor Accelerator. This is off this ship alone. This is off this ship and the two other ships with the Temporal Heavy Dreadnoughts, the Dark Temporal Heavy Dreadnought Battlecruiser and the Valky's Temporal Heavy Dreadnought Warbird. This pretty much has a passive of directed energy damage and some flight turn rate just to help the ship turn a little bit better. And of course this helps a lot with the Energy Gravitic Lance, which is pretty much built in. Of course I have it on auto fire because the next console after this one is one I'll tell you in a second. Of course, the reason why I have it is to fully recharge the Gravitic Lance so it can keep firing at a random target. It doesn't even matter at this point. It's more of a strategic weapon. So this one, it's a Shield Absorb Frequency Generator. This is off the Tier 2 Valdor Warbird. Now this since they released the First Strike bundle, this has been the most overpowered console in the game right now as far as shields is concerned. Like pretty much my shields are up 99.8% of the time, and the reason why I say 98% of the time because of the Borg. And they like to drain your shields, but I can easily raise them back up just by firing my weapons. So if they're below 90% of any shield facing, 2.5% chance per shot, all energy weapons to restore shields up for 200% of outgoing damage. Now 2.5% chance, that is in my case small, but not that small, because you know you got the Protomatter consoles to back you up on shields. So of course in case you do get that 2.5, you're pretty much still gonna get it regardless, so it don't matter. So, and the next one is pretty much my favorite console in the game. Well, second favorite actually. It is the Immolating Phaser Lance. So this has a passive of 15.8 phaser damage and some shield penetration with some 43.8. Now this is pretty much my favorite. It is my favorite console. Not my favorite console in the game because of course my favorite is Tyranny Rays because it looks like the Death Star firing 3 lasers at a single target, which is pretty damn cool. I don't have it because of course all the stuff I need to survive, but you know this thing I pretty much it is so damn good. This is the thing that you get off the Deimos Pilot Destroyer. I got it 2 weeks ago by opening 200 Infinity lot boxes. Pretty much that's what I do. I open 200 lot boxes to get a guaranteed ship no matter what. Pretty much sure that's just how it is, and I think it's the same for the R&D box, so I'm gonna try to at least get 200 of those. I don't know, we're gonna have to see. And the next one, which is the main theme of the build, is Sentry Mode. This one is in and itself is the definition of pure laziness. So you pretty much are stationary like 200% of the infinite percent of the time, and of course it does an decent amount of anti-proton damage, but at the same time it gives, in my case I would call it secondary shields. So of course they won't attack your ship, but they'll attack your sentries instead. So basically if your sentries go down, your ship will pretty much take some damage depending on, and these sentries they're hard to hit, like they're hard to even destroy at best. So in my case I count it as secondary shields. So like I would pretty much use it in a Starbase 1, or I would use it in the Pearl over Bravo or that Colony TFO, which is the, I think it's I just call it Draenor Invasion or something like that in space. But oh, Draenor Gauntlet, that's what it's called, that TFO, which is, of course, you have to defend the shield generators. I would put my ship in the middle, turn on sentry mode, and it would pretty much annihilate everything except for Voth, because they have the deflective shield, they have the reflective shield, which pretty much last time it decimated my entire sentry mode, and my ship took heavy damage, but still managed to survive nonetheless. And the next one is the Swarmer Matrix off the Infinity Lotbox or Exchange. Oh, and I forgot, this comes off the Battle Sentry ship, so that's another $200 lockbox ship that you're gonna have to get. Sorry. So this one is the Swarmer Matrix. So this one is basically a hanger pet. This is just for your hanger pets. It does plus 30 does turn rates, flight speed, and damage for your hanger pets, and of course it gives you some projectile damage too. It's not bad. It's not really bad of a console. But of course, another one that actually stacks up with that is the Harmonix Yield Distributor via Hydra. Who gives a shit? Of course, it gives the same thing, but instead increases cannon damage. Now, this is meant specifically for carriers. Well, people like me, I would say. It gives it for people like me. This is a console for me. So it is a very good thing to have as far as carriers go. This comes off the Terran Hydra Intel Destroyer. You can get it individually or you can get it in the bundle. Who cares what you do with it? I recommend you get it individually because, you know, if you're looking for a cheap $30 ship that you're trying to get with your hangers or something like that, I recommend you get the Hydra. That's what I got first when it came out because God knows I need it. I did not care about any of the other Terran ships. I cared about the Hydra and the console itself, and that's about it. Now this one is the Cutting Tractor Beam, which is something that you get off the Infinity Lot Box. I am so sorry. I know this has been going on for a while, and God knows it is so annoying. Words can't even describe it. Anyways, I'm sorry. But I'm going to be getting a new controller soon, which is like in a few days. I pretty much pre-ordered my controller for a good 15, 16 bucks. You know, I pretty much got it ordered off the Temu thing. But yeah, nonetheless, let's keep going. This pretty much adds anytime you activate a Universal Console, it adds 10% bonus damage to Universal Consoles for 25 seconds, and it stacks up to 10 times. And also, it does a passive to your hull and shield, well, your hull plating and your pretty much your hull regeneration. So this is a pretty good set, and because you have the immolating phaser lance, I can keep that up for as long as I want to. So I'll pretty much get that that 100%. If that were to be the case, 100% bonus damage to all my consoles, nonetheless the phaser lance itself. So that's pretty damn cool. And also this helps too because it's kept on like 98% of the time because the immolating phaser lance. So that is also another good thing. And also the Hydra. So basically, it doesn't matter of the stack. It's so damn good. So I believe the next one we are going to go with the bridge officers. Now this is just for the I'm pretty much sure this is well, I better have this into sections, which is the tactical console. This is the tactical slot, which I have fired wheel and cannon scatter volley for my cannons, and the fired wheel for my that anti-proton beam thing, and also because of the trait superior air denial, which anytime you add to fire wheel and scatter volley gives your pets fire wheel scatter volley, all the same. Now I have torpedo spread because I have the bow anti-proton torpedo, and distributed targeting, which to chain the chain damage. Despite it giving a refraction proc, it chains more damage. And Chemocyte Lace Weaponry to turn your weapons into radiation damage, which is pretty damn cool. Now, I have this heavily relied on shielding, so starting with this one, well these four, the Heisenberg Amplifier, Conventional Version, Scramble Sensors, and Tractor Beam, they're all unconventional system triggers, so I have 4 unconventional system triggers, and I have 4 engineering. I have 4 engineering slots, which is Emergency Power to Shields 3, and Reverse Shield Polarity, which is the best ability in the game as far as shields is concerned, and since it got an update, the board can't drain your shields while this is going. And Overload Integrity Field in case my my ship falls down to 75% or something like that, it would pretty much heal the ship itself. And emergency powered shields to recharge evasive maneuvers 3. And just got some cool Terran stuff. I should have gotten the Emperor's Vanity Shield because I wasn't gonna have the Acheron for long. I miss my baby. Now, as for the Starship traits, relaunch and repair, this come off the Jem'Hadar Vanguard carrier. This pretty much it reduces the recharge time for captain abilities every time you launch a carrier or fire pet or something like that, and it does 25% regeneration for all your carriers. So, and vaulting ambition off the Styx Terran Dreadnought cruiser, I bought the bundle. And if you want to buy the bundle, it's like $180. That's versus the $200 lockbox ship. You just saved $20. You feel happy now? Now this does 175 crit severity versus foes below 20%. So if your foes below 20% health, they're pretty much gonna get killed instantly. They're gonna get vaporized. I pretty much just add that because I just need a lot of crit severity, despite me having some crit chance. But who loves a little bit of crit severity? The strike group command authority that comes off the Hydra. This comes off the Hydra destroyer. Based off the strongest pet, which is fighters do 30 bonus damage. So basically they're doing a lot of bonus damage. This is pretty good. And I won't be having any frigates unless I own the Valkyries, which is pretty unlikely that I'll use the drone ships since I have my favorite trait, Superior Air Denial. So Superior Air Denial is a must-have for all carriers. It doesn't matter what the hell you own. If it is a 2-hanger pet, if it's a 2-hanger ship, it don't even matter. You must have Superior Air Denial on board your ship. This comes off the Mirror Strike Wing Eagle Escort, and no, there is no excuse to not having Superior Air Denial, especially when the 12th anniversary bundle comes with it. Allow me to show you on the Zen store. So, basically, you're saying that, oh, it's a $200 lockbox ship. No. This comes off a bundle, which will show you in a moment, if I were to find it. Wow, they really need to stop with the organizing. It hurts. Yeah, dude, it hurts. If I were to say, it would probably be in here. It's probably in here somewhere. Because there's that bundle that I own. There it is. The 12th anniversary Terran bundle. You get some good stuff with it. You get 12 upgrades to upgrade 12 of your gear. And you get a TS6 ship coupon, which is also pretty nice. You get some keys. You get a handful of keys, and you get some upgrades to upgrade any other the other shit that you want in the future. Which I've saved those. Like I have like 12 of those. Like, dude, I pretty much give them away for free as long as I save one for my Valkyries. That's the only thing I'm gonna get. That's the only thing I'm saving up for. I pretty much sell those out like it's money. So, and of course you get like 4 or 5 ships. You get the favorite Terran Lexington Dreadnought. You get the Cygnus battle cruiser. You get the warship Voyager. You get the Defiant. You get the Adamant, and you get the Trailblazer. And last but not least, you get the Mirror Eagle. There's no other reason that you should not have this trait at all. I do not care. If you think that you cannot afford it, get a job, get a right one, and go get it. If you're using carriers. And, you know, there's always an auxiliary option to that. I believe you can get it off the Avalanche as well. Pretty much, I think it is somewhere here. Yeah, you can get it off the ship. Not the Superior Air Denial, but the Focus Assault. So, if you do not have that, I believe the trait is here somewhere. Because I had this as an auxiliary trait for not having Superior Air Denial, which is Coordinated Assault. You activate Beam Overload 1, 2, or 3. You'll grant Overload 1, 1, 2, or 3 Rapid Fire. You get Rapid Fire 1 for all your hangar pets. And you have the Terran Goodbye off the Mirror Warship, which of course gives you some crit chance, crit severity every time you defeat a foe. And I might just switch this out for something else, because at this point I don't even think I need that much crit severity. It's too much. and regeneration cycle, and oh, yep, this comes off the Mir Ingle. This comes off the Terran warship, another $200 lockbox ship. Have fun with that. And the last one is regeneration cycle off the Infinity lockbox, which every time you activate a science, tactical engineering, or bridge officer ability, you get a crap ton of hit points for 5 seconds, which repairs your hull a lot, and it has a 10-second recharge. Now this is pretty much good as far as tanks is concerned. If you want to tank it, you want this trait. If not, then oh well. There's always some better ones to get it. Now as far as space reputation, I have crit chance, crit severity based on my hull, superior for shield repaired, basic shield regeneration every 6 seconds. I believe this is from the Terran Task Force's Duranium. Now I think this is resistance to a lot of phaser. Actually, I probably might change this. I am going to change this. Yeah, I'm going to change this. Yeah, this one. So reactive ship repairs. So you pretty much get some hull every 5 seconds. And air efficiency, you get some damage over. You get some resistant damage. It's the same thing for this one, physical and kinetic damage resistance. And for the personal space traits, Good Day to Die. That is from. All these are pretty much Affinity lockbox, except for the Boimler effect. That is a low buy trait. And a Good Day to Die, it pretty much takes the restriction off the Go Down Fighting trait, which gives you 50% bonus damage. The Herc Hive defenses, to call in more Herc, to summon more Herc, I pretty much just say I launch more Herc ships. Every time you every time you get a hit by an enemy, it does, of course, you summon Herc ships. And Eyes of the Swarm, perception of your hangar pets. Boimler effect, you recharge the cooldowns of your bridge officers. With another cooldown of your bridge officers, it's cooldowns. My favorite trait, Unconventional Systems, which every time you use a control or bridge officer ability, which is the temporal or science, you pretty much get some, you recharge all your universal consoles faster, give you more bonus damage, and that's pretty damn good. The Make It Go trait, it's insane. The Superior Cannon Training, that is also adds some bonus damage. Some Wing Commander ranks up your pets. The Adaptive Defense gives you 40% damage resistance based on the people who are attacking you, and Neutral Zone, it pretty much gives it gives you bonus damage resistance in the rear. Now I would replace this with I think it's No Retreat, No Mercy. Yep, No Retreat, No Mercy, which gives you bonus damage in the front. Of course, that pretty much covers the ship, but you know I'm not going to do that. Most of this is mostly carrier focused. As for the active and space reputation, I wouldn't worry about those too much. But I think that is pretty much all. I'm not going to do an initial test. Actually, I might. Well, probably not, because most likely we are out of time. But most likely, it's pretty much the laziest boat ever. And if you actually own a carrier, or if you own a hangar pet, you will pretty much see some really different results. Especially if you own the Jem'Hadar Vanguard carrier, I recommend you get that one. That's pretty good. Or one of the support carriers, it doesn't really matter to me. Basically, a 2-carrier pet pretty much is a hangar pet. You pretty much recommend you get a Dreadnought carrier or something like that, like one of the T5 versions of it, and it's pretty damn good. Because of course you get some more tactical focus and you get more flexibility out of it, so it's not that bad. And in my case, I believe it is time to go. So I think I also want to put in some news that I actually might put in a different video, but of course I'm doing some Strange New Worlds clips. Of course I might even get cancelled for copywriting too much, but we all know that's how it's gonna have to be a little bit. Of course, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Nonetheless, I think I might have to be a little bit more careful with those, especially after releasing like the latest episodes and stuff. I might not do any more episode reviews, probably maybe the finale ones, but not to that extent. But other than that, I believe it is time to go. So I think I will see you guys on the next one, and I will see you later. Bye bye.